Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Help us. Residents of Black Hill, Portland want several issues in their community fixed. Will not be regulating the prices for Covid19 tests. And later, less than 9 hours away from kickoff against El Salvador in CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. I'm Giovanni Dennis and here are the details. Residents of Rodney Hall in Black Hill, Portland are appealing to their political representatives for assistance to resolve some of the challenges in their community. The appeal follows an early morning fire which destroyed a shop residents claim could have been saved if the community had water. Sandy Williams reports.
Right now, I want some road, want light, want water. I want some money for Christmas, look. We hungry too, you know.
A desperate plea from one resident in Rodney Hall located in Black Hill, Portland. But he is not alone. As other residents say, they are frustrated with the lack of basic commodities in their community. A fire which destroyed a shop early Friday morning in the area was the last straw for residents.
About 1:30, my neighbor called me that the place was on fire. So I came out and a lot of people were out here and the fire was burning and we have a tank right there. And there is no water in that for a long time now. No water coming in the district now for about 3 weeks.
But that's not a tank, that is a trough. Because them full of water and then the cow can drink for it. We have a cow. Look on the place, look at the fence on. Like a cow pasture. So the fence round, you know, like a circle, and give water in a trough like we are cow. We want water in a pipeline.
To add to their frustration, they say it was a challenge to get assistance from both the police and fire department.
I've been calling the police, everybody. Nobody came. My husband went down to Orange Bay. He went to the station. He turned his light on. He has his horn blowing. And he drove around the station flashing his light. Nobody came out. So he has to go down to Buff Bay, the same thing in Buff Bay. He has to go get the fire truck himself. Nobody was there to assist us, and it's a crying shame.
They say by the time the Buff Bay fire station responded, it was too late. Everything had already turned to ashes. The residents say the community is also without electricity, internet, and proper roads.
My girl can go in her shower and bathe, and I can't go beside her and bathe too. I can't bathe in a bad pan like my woman. All my sister, my mother bathe in the same bad pan and I have to bathe the night too. That can't work, boss. One road, one water, everything.
And this is a strong JLP hold. And Mr. Vaz and his caretaker need to do something about this.
Attempts were made to contact Member of Parliament for the area, Darrell Vaz. However, calls to his phone went straight to voicemail. Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
To other news, Accompong Maroon Chief Richard Curry says he will be working to ease the tension between himself and some Maroons. Some of the Maroons have been complaining about Mr. Curry's leadership style. He was a guest on the morning agenda on Power 106.
Richard Curry has come under fire in recent days as some members of the community have likened him to a dictator. This comes as a member of the village was beaten, allegedly by his security detail, after the man refused to comply with orders given by the chief to turn off a party that was in full swing.
What you're seeing here is an incident that took place when the team went to try and shut down this event. Well, it was shut down because it was scheduled to shut down at a particular time. Yeah. During that time, the incident occurred, and the person that was involved that actually got injured is my nephew.
Mr. Curry says the victim came by his house after the incident on the day in question and filed a complaint. He was told that the matter would be addressed, and that was when things took a turn for the worse.
In that issue, I'm understanding that a knife was used, and we're having conflicting reports of this knife incident which has been mentioned and promoted in the media. And it has all been done to make me seem as if I'm influencing a negative approach to maintaining order in our community, and that is not the case.
Mr. Curry has criticized the leadership of the previous administration for a breakdown of morals in the village.
The challenge that we suffer as a community here is that our previous administrator, our previous leader, I should say, had not resided in the community during his 11 and a half years of tenure. What has happened over that time is just a level of let me call it a free-for-all, right? And Accompong has essentially become a party central.
In the meantime, Mr. Curry believes the high number of parties in Accompong could have a devastating effect on members if something is not done about it.
We're a small community where we are. We don't have the necessary facilities to take care and treat our people. Yes. And yet, we're inviting so many people from outside the communities to come in here, paying no respect to our neighbors, right, in this crisis. They leave here and go back into public. We don't know what the outcome of such interactions over a long period of time may be.
Sandy Williams, TVJ.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says while he's not opposed to allowing self-administered COVID-19 test kits into the island, the results will not be recognized by the ministry. Shamala Pullen reports.
At present, the Health Ministry offers free COVID-19 testing in the public health system. But Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says this is done once a medical doctor conducts an assessment and determines that testing is necessary.
Where you have to pay for testing in the US, and I've experienced it, it's not cheap, it's very expensive. I mean, a PCR test recently that I was trying to do at one private entity in the US was the quote without insurance was $235. The antigen test, it's averaging $70, $80, $90.
Dr. Tufton says some Jamaicans are too critical of the health system in Jamaica. He says they oftentimes make comparisons with other countries with more resources.
As long as an entity, private entity, is willing to import, make an application to the standards agency, and those tests meet some minimum standards, then they would be allowed to be imported. So anyone can import a test kit, and it's not just now a WHO approved kit. We also are considering agencies such as the FDA or the European equivalent standard for those tests to come in.
Meanwhile, Dr. Tufton says he's in agreement with the use of self-administered COVID-19 kits, but those results will not be recognized for the Ministry of Health's database.
What we have said, though, is that for surveillance purposes, we will not use those tests that may be administered by a company through self-administration to manage the national surveillance. We will continue to use the tests that we believe are more accurate, because it's important for us as a national agency to know exactly what the extent of COVID is in the population and not run the risk of greater margins of error by administering tests that have wider gaps in terms of false negatives and false positives.
Shamala Pullen, TVJ News.
Despite some countries reporting an increase in new COVID-19 infections, Jamaica is among the few with a small number of new cases. However, the Pan American Health Organization is raising concerns about the low vaccination rate in countries like Jamaica once again. Here is Shamila Pullen.
Over the last week, there has been a steady rise in new COVID-19 infections rates in Latin America and the Caribbean. It's a situation that is of concern to the Pan American Health Organization. But luckily for Jamaica and some other countries, this is not the case.
In the Caribbean, while Cuba, Jamaica, and Puerto Rico have reported decreases in new infections, cases are rising in the Dominican Republic, Trinidad and Tobago, and Barbados. The Cayman Islands and Dominica are also experiencing a high number of cases.
The good news is vaccination continues to pick up in the region, but still not enough countries, including Jamaica, have reached the 40% target set by the World Health Organization.
In Jamaica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Guatemala, less than 1 in 5 people have been vaccinated and protected. In Nicaragua, coverage remains in the single digits, and in Haiti, less than 1% of people have been fully vaccinated.
Dr. Etienne says this must be addressed, and soon.
Through donations via COVAX and through direct procurement. We are already working with manufacturers to secure additional doses on behalf of our region. PAHO has signed supply agreements with 3 manufacturers who are WHO emergency use listed vaccines, and it is in final negotiation with a fourth supplier, a mRNA vaccine producer.
Shamela Pulen, TVJ News.
9 more Jamaicans died from COVID-19 in the last 24 hours, bringing the country's total death toll to 2,311 people. One of the victims was a 28-year-old woman from Manchester. The country recorded 79 new cases of the virus from 755 tests. The case count now stands at 90,005. Now, the island's positivity rate is now 10.5%. 202 people are hospitalized with the virus. 12 are critically ill, while 30 are severely ill. There are now 980 active cases across the island. In the meantime, 184 more people have recovered from the virus, bringing the total recoveries to 60,120. And it's now time for a break here on the Midday News, but please stay with us. We'll have much more when we return. Welcome back. We're continuing the news. Motorists and residents who often use the Newport to Pewsey Hill Main Road in Manchester blocked several sections of the thoroughfare earlier this week, protesting against poor road conditions. They say the road is unsafe for users and are calling on their MP to urgently address the problem. Sandy Williams reports.
There was limited access for motorists in and out of communities in South Manchester on Wednesday morning. Several persons had to walk longer than usual distances to get public transport. But according to transport operators, it was a peaceful demonstration on Wednesday, but no promises of peace for the future.
If there is no representation from the government, this will escalate. And we have to make like how Patton go on. When fridge and TV, old car and everything go pack up the road, nothing now move tomorrow if we don't see Mr. Chin today.
Motorists have grown frustrated with the costly car repair bills and pressure from the Transport Authority.
Sometimes I wonder if the politicians them have shares in the auto industry. Because what? Them send transport come a road, come inspect the vehicle and find out if the vehicle fit. Who then send come see if the road fit for we put the car upon where we are care people every day, all day from day till night.
And while it has been reported that other roads in the area have been worked on, they say nothing has been done to the 10-mile stretch of road, which has now become a risk for motorists to navigate. But they argue that the temporary fix, which has been used over the years, hasn't worked and they've had enough.
We see them come with cement and malt, brother, that's no fixed road. We give you them $50 for patch road when we see them a hustle. We make them hustle one half bag of cement. But the politician can't send the cement, come here and come fix the road, brother. Then go with that.
They pointed to other areas that have been neglected, arguing that the community is in dire need of a facelift. Member of Parliament for Manchester Southern, Robert Chin, revealed that because of limited resources available for road rehabilitation works, some roads have been given priority this year, but plans are underway to fix others.
Next year, Newport to Pewsey Hill, that is the priority road for next year. So I just have to do what I know I can do with the resources that I get. So I'm asking, be patient. Things are happening. Things will get done.
Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
To other news, the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, is again asking the government to do all it can to prevent teachers from leaving the island for greener pastures. The teacher migration issue has gained renewed focus as the JTA continues to advocate for better wages for its members.
Teacher migration is nothing new for Jamaica, as hundreds of teachers have left the island to the United States, China, and Japan to ply their trade. This, many say, is due to the inadequate pay package which they receive on a monthly basis from the government. Now, with the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, things are getting increasingly worse for teachers who have had to be bearing additional costs as classes are now being done from their homes. Successive presidents of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, have been at odds with the government over wage negotiations. The association's current president, Winston Smith, says more teachers are looking at overseas opportunities at the moment.
If this negotiation doesn't turn out to the benefit or the betterment of teachers, there will be an exodus of teachers that will make the days of Moses look like child's play, because there are many other avenues and doors that are being opened for teachers now that pays teachers better and have better conditions of service. And it is time for us to take a serious look at how we treat our teachers in Jamaica, because the Jamaican teachers are among the best in the world.
The JTA president also noted that the migration of teachers has a significant impact on the performance of students on exit examinations. He referenced 2017, where a 4-year agreement was signed off on. That agreement saw teachers receiving 5% in the first year, 2% and 4% in the second and third years respectively, and 5% in the final year.
And after what transpired in 2017, there are many mathematics teachers who I would have spoken to who left the education system in Jamaica because of what we were given as a compensation package. This undoubtedly impacts our academic output, because if we are losing the more experienced teachers, it means that the places are being filled by inexperienced teachers. And it's not that they're not capable, but they're not experienced enough to deliver the curriculum in a manner that will get you the results that we really need to see. And some of these teachers, as soon as they get some experience, they're going to leave.
It's why Mr. Smith is calling for the Finance Ministry to improve its latest wage offer of 3% to teachers. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And it's now time for the Business Minute with Cody and Barrett.
Business News Director of Tourism Donovan White says airlift capacity coming into Jamaica is set to exceed 2019 figures. He says more airlines continue to revise schedules and use larger aircraft.
Jamaica is now at 45% of 2019 levels against the world delivery of passenger of 31%. And by way of GDS, or travel agent booking platform, Jamaica is now at 61% of 2019 levels versus 28% for the world.
He added that Jamaica is on track to meet its target of 1.5 million arrivals by the end of the year. And in business internationally, AstraZeneca has booked its first profit from sales of its COVID-19 vaccine. The company sold $2.2 billion worth of the shot in the first 9 months of the year. In the quarter ending September 30, the vaccine's sales totaled $1.05 billion, contributing 1 cent to earnings per share. In announcing its earnings on Friday, the UK's largest pharmaceutical company said it expected to see modest profits from the vaccine in the final quarter of this year. And that's it for the Business Minute this week. I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
And it's now time for the top regional and international stories with Sandy Williams.
In the region, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has defended its policy of increasing support for vulnerable countries, including those in the Caribbean, through the rechanneling of special drawing rights, SDR. The SDR is an international reserve asset created by the IMF in 1969 to supplement its member countries' official reserves. To date, a total of SDR 660.7 billion, equivalent to about US $943 billion, have been allocated. This includes the largest ever allocation of about SDR 456 billion approved on August 2 this year. The IMF said the most recent allocation was to address the long-term global need for reserves and help countries cope with the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. On the international scene, around 1,000 people crossed the English Channel by boat to reach the UK on Thursday, a new record for migrant crossings in a single day, as mild weather made the journey less risky. 4 border force vessels intercepted boats that were spotted off the coast and escorted them into Dover. French authorities say 3 people are feared lost at sea as 2 kayaks were found adrift near Calais. More than 23,000 people have made the crossing from France to the UK by boat so far this year, a sharp rise on the 8,404 in 2020, and far more than in years before the pandemic, when most asylum seekers arrived by plane, ferry, or train. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Sandy Williams.
And we now head to a quick break. When we come back, Simon Preston will have the Midday Sports.
Welcome back. It's now time for Midday Sports. I'm Simon Preston. TVJ Sports understands that Leon Bailey is expected to start for the Reggae Boys against El Salvador in the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers this evening in San Salvador. This would be Bailey's first appearance for Jamaica since the CONCACAF Gold Cup in the summer. TVJ Sports understands that the starting 11 reads Andre Blake, Kemar Lawrence, Adrian Mariappa, Damian Lowe, O'Neill Fisher, Anthony Grant, Javon Watson, Kemar Roof, Bobby Reed, Leon Bailey and Shamar Nicholson. Kickoff is at 9 o'clock Jamaica time. The Jamaicans will be searching for their first win over El Salvador since 2015. The Reggae Boys have won 10, drawn 6 and lost 5 matches to El Salvador in the head-to-head history. In other matches across the region, the United States will host Mexico while Canada battles Costa Rica. Those matches kick off at 9:05. At 8:05, Honduras will entertain Panama. After these 4 games, each team will have completed half of their fixtures in the World Cup qualifying campaign. To South America we go now, as Brazil have become the first South American team to qualify for the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar after clipping Colombia 1-0 on Thursday. Lucas Paqueta scored for Brazil in the 72nd minute. Brazil still has 6 qualifiers to play, but are 9 points clear of second-placed Argentina. Brazil is also the 3rd team to qualify for the World Cup after Germany and Denmark. Brazil is the only country to have played in every single FIFA World Cup. Back locally now, as the 2021 ISA schoolboy football season kicks off today with a total of 6 matches. Among them, a double-header at Jamaica College's Ashenheim Stadium as defending the Costa Cup champions Clarendon College starts their title defence against Edwin Allen at 12:30, before Manning Cup champions Jamaica College battles Calabar. 4 more Manning Cup fixtures will be contested today, as in Group B at the Stadium East Field, Excelsior High will take on Tivoli Gardens in the feature game at 3 o'clock. At sports time, it was 0-0 between Camperdown and Dunoon Technical in the early kickoff. At the Prison Oval, it was 0-0 at sports time between Jonathan Grant and Jose Marti. At 3 o'clock, 2019 runners-up St Andrew Technical will battle San Diego. And finally this afternoon, Jamaican basketballer Nick Richards and the Charlotte Hornets will battle the New York Knicks in action from the NBA at the Spectrum Arena this evening. The Hornets have won 6 and lost 7 games this season, while the Knicks have won 7 games and lost 5 games this campaign. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock Jamaica time. Richards is in his 2nd season with the Hornets. And that is it for your Midday Sports Report. I'm Simon Preston. Giovanni, it is over to you.
Thank you so much, Simon. And well, that's it indeed for the Midday News. I'm Giovanni Dennis. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a good afternoon.